Willie Nelson's story begins in the small town of Abbott, Texas, where he was born in 1933 and raised in a modest, hard-working environment. Life in that rural setting shaped much of who he would become, both as a musician and as a person. Raised primarily by his grandparents, Willie grew up surrounded by music, faith, and simple living. His grandparents didn't just raise him, they nurtured his curiosity and gave him his first real connection to music. That early exposure, especially through gospel and country sounds played at home, sparked something deep in him. By the time he was a child, he was already writing songs and experimenting with melodies. Music wasn't a career choice for him at that stage, it was simply part of his daily life. Even before he understood the industry or fame, he understood emotion, storytelling, and rhythm. Those early roots stayed with him throughout his life, becoming the foundation of a career that would eventually reshape country music itself. Early struggles and musical discovery. Before Willie Nelson became a household name, he spent years building experience in small towns, local venues, and modest performances across Texas. As a teenager, he played in bands, performed in dance halls, and took any opportunity he could to sing in front of an audience. These weren't glamorous stages, many were noisy honky-tonks where audiences came and went, and musicians had to earn attention the hard way. But those experiences taught him discipline, timing, and the importance of connecting with listeners. At one point, he also worked as a disc jockey, which gave him a broader understanding of what people enjoyed hearing on the radio. That exposure shaped his instincts as a songwriter. He wasn't just performing music, he was learning how audiences responded to emotion, storytelling, and authenticity. These early years were not about fame or recognition. They were about survival, learning, and slowly developing a voice that would later become instantly recognizable around the world. Nashville Dreams and Songwriting Breakthrough. In the early 1960s, Willie Nelson made the move to Nashville, the heart of the country music industry. Like many artists before him, he arrived with hopes of success, but quickly discovered that the city had its own rules and expectations. Nashville at the time favored polished sounds and structured songwriting, while Willie's style leaned more toward emotional storytelling and unconventional phrasing. Despite that, his talent as a songwriter couldn't be ignored for long. One of his earliest major breakthroughs came when he wrote "Crazy," a song that became a massive hit for Patsy Cline. That single moment changed how the industry viewed him, not just as a performer, but as a songwriter with rare emotional depth. He followed it with more compositions that found success in other artists' voices. Even when he wasn't always in the spotlight himself, his words were shaping country music from behind the scenes. This period laid the groundwork for his transition from songwriter to full-fledged artist, breaking free and redefining country music. By the 1970s, Willie Nelson was no longer willing to fit into the rigid expectations of the Nashville system. Instead, he began exploring a sound that felt more natural to him, blending country with folk, jazz, and a looser, more expressive style of performance. Albums like Shotgun Willie marked a turning point in his career, showing a more relaxed, honest version of his artistry. Then came Red-Headed Stranger, a stripped-down concept album that defied commercial expectations, but became one of his most celebrated works. It told a continuous story with minimal production, focusing instead on emotion and narrative. This approach helped define what would later be known as the outlaw country movement, a shift that prioritized artistic freedom over industry rules. Willie, along with other musicians of the era, helped reshape the genre into something more personal and less polished. It wasn't just a musical change, it was a cultural statement about independence and authenticity. Timeless songs that defined generations. Over the years, Willie Nelson created a collection of songs that became deeply embedded in American music culture. Tracks like On the Road Again, Always on My Mind, and Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain remain some of his most recognized works. Each of these songs carries its own emotional weight, whether it's the feeling of freedom, reflection, or heartbreak. On the Road Again captured the spirit of life as a traveling musician, turning constant movement into something joyful rather than tiring. Always on My Mind, meanwhile, showed a softer, more vulnerable side of love and regret, resonating with listeners across generations. His ability to take simple lyrics and turn them into emotionally powerful stories is part of what made his music timeless. These songs didn't rely on complexity, they relied on honesty. That honesty is what allowed them to survive changing musical trends and remain relevant decades after their release. The outlaw country movement and cultural impact. Willie Nelson played a major role in shaping what became known as the outlaw country movement, a shift that challenged the polished norms of Nashville in the 1970s. Alongside artists like Waylon Jennings and Johnny Cash, he helped create a new space for musicians who wanted more creative control over their work. This movement wasn't just about music style, it was about independence. Artists began recording outside traditional studio systems, choosing their own material and embracing imperfections as part of their sound. Willie's relaxed vocal style and storytelling approach fit perfectly into this movement. He became a symbol of artistic freedom, showing that success didn't require conformity. The cultural impact of this shift extended beyond music, influencing attitudes about individuality and self-expression. Even today, the outlaw country era is seen as one of the most important turning points in American music history, and Willie Nelson remains one of its defining figures. Life, family, and personal journey beyond music. Willie Nelson's life has been shaped by family, relationships, and personal experiences that influenced both his character and his songwriting. Over the years, he has been married multiple times and has raised a large family, with his relationships often reflecting the ups and downs of a life spent in constant motion. These experiences brought both joy and challenges, many of which found their way into his lyrics. Despite the demands of touring and recording, he has always maintained strong ties to his children and loved ones. His personal life has never been separate from his music, it has been part of it. Many of his songs reflect themes of love, separation, forgiveness, and reflection, drawn directly from lived experience. While fame brought visibility, it also brought complexity, and Willie often navigated both with a grounded, straightforward attitude. His life story is as much about resilience and adaptation as it is about success. Health, aging, and recent years. In recent years, Willie Nelson has faced the natural health challenges that come with aging after decades of performing and traveling. Like many longtime performers, he has occasionally adjusted or postponed shows to focus on rest and recovery. Over time, he has also explored various wellness approaches to maintain his ability to continue performing, including lifestyle changes and medical care when needed. While reports about his health sometimes circulate online in exaggerated or uncertain ways, what remains consistent is his continued presence in music and public life. Even as he slows down compared to earlier decades, he continues to be involved in performances, recordings, and collaborations when possible. His focus has increasingly shifted toward balance, staying connected to music while also taking care of his well-being. Rather than stepping away completely, he has adapted his pace, showing that longevity in a career often comes from knowing when to rest and when to return. Enduring legacy of an American icon. Willie Nelson's legacy is not defined by a single moment, but by a lifetime of contributions to music, culture, and storytelling. He helped reshape country music, gave voice to emotional honesty in songwriting, and inspired generations of artists to stay true to their own style. His influence extends beyond genre boundaries, reaching into rock, folk, and popular music as a whole. Even today, his songs continue to be played, covered, and rediscovered by new audiences. What makes his legacy especially powerful is its authenticity. He never abandoned his roots or his unique approach to music. Instead, he built a career that reflected who he truly was. Whether performing on stage, writing songs, or simply living his life, Willie Nelson became a symbol of artistic freedom and resilience. His story is not just about fame, but about staying true to a voice that began in a small Texas town and went on to echo across the world.